We have a camera that we don't use on guests.
Next up, we have our speaker number 1, Joanna, tonight. And the purpose of her speech is to apply her understanding of social media to enhance an established or new social media presence. And the title of her speech is Enhancing My Social Media Presence. So please welcome Joanna.
I need it. By way of background, I have a mind-body coaching business that I started in 1993. And it's evolved with the technologies of life as life has evolved. It was in my history that I would go out and network at greeters and network with friends and ask people who would come for privates for referrals, and I'd drop into healthcare stores and introduce myself, and this person would tell that person. And in my history, I've never had to do much of anything to create business. Usually it takes 1 or 2 calls, and then somebody says something to somebody, and all of a sudden I have a health food store owner that tells everybody, and I'm in business for the next 3 years. That's how I started my business. And I've been doing it now for 20 years, where I don't really have to do much to attract something. And you know, there's been times where the business supported me, and times where the business waned, and I wasn't sure whether I could support my life with that. And at one point in time, I did this adventure outside of just doing my coaching business, and I wound up working for Fred Pryor. And who's familiar with Fred Pryor Career Track? Don't ever go to work for him unless you talk to me first and you make a good decision. Nearly killed myself, but it was a way for me to keep doing what I enjoyed doing, which was interacting and being in the training mode with people and things like that. Then the computers started coming into the technologies, the tools that we could use in terms of our outreach and such. And I built a website because that's what they said I should do. And so all my flyers became a website, pretty much. My, how do I call it, my business cards were like my website. If people called, instead of sending them handouts, I could send them to my website. It was really useful. I learned some things about building a website because it cost me a lot of money initially. It cost me a lot of money because I really didn't know how to say what it was that I did and how to organize my presence on the web. It wasn't my learning style, but what I learned in the process of doing that is that I needed to have a website just to be able to play with it, to help be more clear with how I present what it is that I do. And so I actually, through building a website, having somebody else start it for me, I learned how to do the back end of it. And having done that, I learned how to be managing a website. So I built this skill, and I have this website. Fast forward in time, Facebook comes into the picture. I do not do Facebook. I am on Facebook because I learned that I should be on Facebook, but I never go on Facebook. And then I heard that LinkedIn was really good, and I decided to build a presence on LinkedIn, thinking, well, maybe I would use that because it was more business focused. And occasionally I might go into LinkedIn. I did the same thing with Twitter, so those top 3. It wasn't until about a year or so ago I started really studying what's the benefit of using these social media platforms. I became a whole lot more interested in that study because I had written a book and published it and put it out into the university, the website. It's on my website. It's on Amazon.com, It's in bookstores, and when I finished it, decided that under the circumstances, without going into that whole story, I needed to have a timeout, and so I just kind of set it aside. And I started studying these platforms about how can I do a better job and maybe use this to promote my book. And I'm doing about as much now as I did 3 years ago, having studied it. And then I was brought to this project that's within our Pathways program that made me think about and get really angry about the idea of social media and its power. What I learned was that there are certain businesses that are really benefited by using social media, and it's like a whole new business model. It's not how I did business in the past. I have to learn how to do some business differently if I'm going to do it online. And it works best online if I have one product or more products where I'm doing most of my interactions, online training, online coaching, online selling. And the building of a platform, a basis for that, is a daily, ongoing process of communicating and sharing wisdom. Maybe I'll get there, but that's not where I am. And I've decided to set that aside. It's not where I want to invest my time and money. But then I came across this one person who had compared that to another one that was kind of in between that and what I'm more interested in, which is the idea that I can take my wisdom and target it to an email list in a way that helps me, because it helps me discover what my audience might want in terms of what I can share. I happen to have a long list of things I can share with people. It's in the book, it's stuff I do with privates, and I just have all of this stuff, and I have sometimes a hard time taking all of this and having it funnel into a focus. And so when I came across this one approach, I really liked it. I liked the idea that maybe I would have a pilot that I would suggest to a variety of people that are in my closer circle that was accessed via email, via word of mouth, and places like that. That I would invite a handful of people, 12, small group, to come in and help me to create a presentation that would meet their needs. So it's like I could go in like I'm going into this speech tonight without knowing what I'm going to say and see what comes out of my mouth in the moment. And it just seemed to work for me. So that's where I'm leaving it, and I'm really happy that this project was available so that I could at least have this moment to be able to make that statement in front of this group and say, we don't have to do it all. We can actually start small for those of us that enjoy intimate relationships with people and want to have rich, transformative experiences rather than informational experiences.